Happy Monday, everyone. My name is Yolanda, and I am the co-founder of Harper Therapy. And Toby and Hobbs and I, the therapy dogs, and I are coming to you live from our office here in Lutz, Florida. The dogs are with me, but I wanted to share some tips with you today about using mindfulness to help with anxiety. We've been talking a lot about anxiety recently. We have been talking, hi Shaman, that's our co-founder. We have been talking about anxiety a lot lately. We've been giving you some tips and hints for how to handle symptoms of anxiety. And mindfulness is another way of helping with symptoms of anxiety. What happens when we are feeling anxious? We have all of those body sensations that we've talked about before. We have the sweaty palms. We kind of get sweaty throughout our body. That fight, flight, freeze response is triggered for us. Our heart races, our muscles tense. We get ready to either put up our dukes and fight, run away, or just freeze. We shut down. And then what happens with the thinking part of our brain is that it gets really, really busy. So a lot of times when we're feeling anxious, it's thought. And we can't get our brain to slow down. In fact, it's the total opposite of being mindful. And the simple definition of mindfulness is just being in the present moment. And when we're feeling anxious, it's really hard to do that. So something that I use in session are these little laminated cards that are super helpful. And I will even put these on the ground so you can do this too. So our thoughts go to the past. Our thoughts are not in the present. We think about the past. We think about the way that we should have handled the situation, or we think about the comment that we made to our friend that we're afraid that was offensive to her. So our thoughts aren't in the present, they're in the past, or they're in the future. So we're not in the present moment. We're thinking about the past, or we're thinking about the future. We're thinking about, I got to give the dogs their medicine. I have to worry about jury duty. I got that chore to do when I get home. Oh, my spouse and I had an argument this morning. I'm going to have to address that when I get home, right? So our thoughts aren't in the present. They're not, they're in the past or in the future, or our thoughts are thinking about other people. I'm worried about my friend. I'm worried about my husband being upset with me. I'm worried about what so-and-so is thinking of me. I'm worried about what people think about what I'm wearing or what I say, right? So those are some other ways that our thoughts are derailed from the present moment. And then me, I'm thinking about your thoughts about me, right? So we're everywhere. So we're skirting around future, past, you, me, and we are everywhere but in the now. And the now is the only time that we can be present and that we can be happy. And we miss out on a lot of the smaller things that actually bring happiness and joy because we're so focused on all of these other thoughts. So a good way of bringing ourselves back into the now, of helping our brain to slow down with those racing thoughts, is to actually practice a little game in Vegas, the vagus nerve. So that's a nerve that runs from our brain throughout our body. It's a nerve that helps engage that parasympathetic, that stay and play, that rest and relax part of our brain, helps us calm things down. So when we press into our feet, when we put our feet flat on the floor, and we do this a lot in sessions too, put our feet flat on the floor and press into our feet, take some nice breaths. That engages the parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve, and that calms down the brain, helps with those racing thoughts. Then we can play a little game. I like to call it the 5-4-3-2-1 game. So I'm going to share some examples of what that looks like, but it's really just engaging our senses to bring us back into our present moment and to practice mindfulness. So it doesn't really matter what order that you go in. Just remember we have senses. We can kind of play the game based on that. So the first part is, what are 5 things in the room that you see? I see My diploma's on the wall. I see a box of tissue, right? I see Hobbs is laying on the couch right next to me. Toby is on the floor behind me. The dog's water dish is right on the floor in front of me, right? 5 things that you see. Then what are 4 things that you hear? Right now, I hear the ticking of the clock. I hear some insects outside. I hear the humming of the fan that's in the room, right? Oftentimes I'll hear the jingle of the dog's collars. So what are 4 things that you hear? What are 3 things that you smell? Right now, I smell the body wash that I used this morning. I put a little bit of lipstick on before I came on, so I smell the lipstick, right? I also have some leave-in conditioner spray that's coconut scented, so I smell that too, a mixture of scents. 3 things that I smell. What are 2 things that you taste or that you like to taste, right? Right now, I have a mint in my mouth, so I'm tasting that. Something that I like to taste is cinnamon. I was just talking with our client care coordinator, Jody, and she has made an apple crisp for a gathering tonight, and she says she put a lot of good cinnamon in it, so my mouth is watering thinking about that. So things that you taste or things that you like to taste. Then the final, so that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the 1 is name 1 good thing about yourself. And if you have a hard time with this one, most of us do, but it's a good kind of introductory practice to something else that is really helpful when addressing anxiety symptoms, and that is a practice of self-compassion. So when we can get into a habit of naming 1 good thing, of recognizing a good thing about ourselves, that's going to help address some anxiety and that feeling of not enoughness and all that stuff that comes bubbling up for us. So 1 good thing about me is that I am really empathic, and that is what makes me a great therapist. So that is my introduction to you guys of bringing a little bit of Vegas into your life to help with anxiety and playing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 game. So if you want to share with us some of the things that you can use your senses to engage with the world around you that are helpful for you in reducing anxiety, we'd love to hear about that in the comments here. Also want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. We'll be doing a live later this week on the use of medication in anxiety. So I have a good friend who is a nurse practitioner who's going to be sharing what her procedure is and some thoughts about using medication to help with anxiety. So if you have any questions for us for that live, drop that in the comment box below as well. And you guys have a great rest of your Monday. It started out a little rocky, but we're gonna bring it through. We're gonna have a great Monday together, guys. Hope that you are having a great day, and we will see you later this week.